Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy, and today I would like to show you how I made this card using the Stampin' Up! Zany zebras. So I also used this beautiful rainbow glimmer paper. So I wanted to explain a little bit about that. So with this glimmer paper, you get a 12 by 12. They're two sheets, $6. And what I did here is cut it to 1.5 by 4 inches. So you could easily get 24 card accents out of one sheet. So it's sort of on the pricey side, but if you consider you only need a little bit, you can really make it go a long way. So the colors are the Bermuda Bay, Blackberry Bliss, Granny Apple Green, and Magenta Madness, and Mango Melody. But I didn't even actually look at what were the colors before I decided on what colors to use. So, for example, with this card, I knew this was probably Bermuda Bay, but I wanted a little lighter shade. So I used the Coastal Cabana. And I also, this is Mango Melody, but for this card, I chose to use Daffodil Delight. So you can see it really blends and so forth. The other thing I was going to mention is I used a wobble, so this is really fun. It's very interactive. Great for the party animals, right? All right, so let's get to the card. We will start with a little bit of stamping. So you will need a scrap of Whisper White, and I am going to be doing embossing. Now, the product I'm going to be using is a shimmer black embossing powder. Now this is retired, but if you got it, then use it, or you could try to find another alternative. So I used all 3 of the party, I almost said pandas, zebras, and they are just adorable. So all you do here is, of course, use your embossing buddy. And then you need Versamark. So what I'm going to do, of course, is ink up my zebra and stamp. So through the magic of TV, I have already cut these out and fussy cut them out. There is not a die set associated with this, but it isn't too hard or takes too long. Now the next part I'm going to do is do a little bit of coloring. So we have our party hat, and this one I started to cut out. Okay, so the colors I'm going to use the gorgeous light Magenta Madness, and I want to color this little tongue coming out there. That's too cute. And I'm going to now color the party hat. So I need a spot of the magenta, and excuse me, I'm going to color most of the hat, the Bermuda Bay light, because this hat idea, when I saw it, someone had it on Pinterest of it falling off. I thought that was hilarious, and I definitely wanted to replicate that. Also, it really makes sense with the wobble to have a hat falling off. It's just too funny. I do like that sort of humor, you know. The little zebra is running away so fast, it actually lost its hat. So that's pretty cute. All right, so this is the Highland Heather Dark. So you can see that goes pretty fast, but I did go ahead and cut one out, so that'll make it faster. Don't worry, I will use these pieces later on. because I think this card will be so much fun to have. The next part I'm going to do is I ran a piece of 3 3/4 by 5 inches, 3 3/4 by 5 inches of Balmy Blue through Dainty Diamonds 3D embossing folder. And what I need to do now is quickly bring up the color. I'm going to use the stamping sponge, and I will speed this part up as well, because mostly it's kind of noisy when you're using your sponge. I struggled a little there adding some baker's twine, but I want it fairly high up, and I realized I started it too low. But this is also a retired item, the baker's twine, the black, basic black, but it is a Stampin' Up product. So now it's just gonna get more and more fun. One of the things that I would suggest doing before, which I didn't do, was to go ahead and add this first, but I can manage that. That's not too big of a deal to slide it under. And one advantage to doing it secondly is maybe you could get the twine a little tighter, but I would suggest doing it actually before you add the baker's twine, but no problem. We crafters, even if we make a mistake, we make the most of it. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to our base, and then we'll continue building. So I think this is just so adorable. I think it would make a great birthday card for a little girl, or perhaps someone who's just young at heart. It's just really a fun one. So yeah, because who doesn't need a smile on their face? Okay, so here is now what we're gonna work with, our base. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to position this piece and my You're a Party Animal. You can probably do it in a variety of ways, but this is what I found that probably works the best. So this is a banner, and what I did here, which I was planning on showing actually, is I had a scrap of Whisper White. Then I have my ink pad. I'll just quickly show you, even though I already have it made, just so you can get an idea how I did that. So I wanted an ombre effect. So here is the You're a Party Animal. So what you do here is you want to start with your lightest color. And for me, I feel like it's kind of a toss-up here, but I'm gonna go with Granny Apple Green as my lightest. Then you want to use a sponge dauber and pick up your darker color. So I'm just going to add Bermuda Bay, and you notice I'm kind of sponging up into halfway into the party, or yeah, the party. Okay, I even got some ink on myself. So I'm a bit of a messy stamper, I guess. All right, so then you just stamp it, and it looks really cool. You could, use your Stamp Right markers, but it's completely unnecessary when you can just use the dauber, and I like the saturation better in the mixing of the two colors. So that's how I did that, and then I ran it. These are the Tasteful labels. I used the die from there, which I actually took out, and just centered and ran it through my die cutting machine. Excuse me. All right, so and the embossing folder that I used was the Dainty diamonds. So this one is really a fabulous one, and it's from the new annual catalog. Okay, enough of that. Back to card making. We're going to talk about wobbles. So I got these wobbles on Amazon. They comes in a variety of packages. These are the mini ones. And what I would suggest is go ahead and get the larger package. It costs more, but you get a lot more for the money. So I will probably have these for quite a few years. Now, I found that it was best to go ahead and remove everything, all the adhesive first, before, you know, trying to put it one side on the card and then the other lining it up. So it can be a little tricky to start this, but they come right off the backing. What is it called? Okay, so this one is like this. Now, it's up for debate which way you should put the part, you know, what you want to wobble, but I kind of feel like the clear side down, but probably some people would disagree with that. And I think in the end, it doesn't really matter. But I think attaching the animal first is actually more important. That way we can get a good position. So I'm going to put him or her down here. And I'm not going to push too hard right now because I might still reposition. All right, so that's that. Now we have our one that's looking over its shoulder. So I'm just removing this dimensional backings. And I'm going to position this one mostly over here, below kind of the banner, but coming out. So kind of like that. And then we have this zebra, and I want this one to look like it's in the background of the party, but still part of it, of course. I just think these are adorable. Okay, so the only thing left now is the little party hat. And this, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and push this down firmly so that we make sure it's not going to go any, you know, slide around. We want it to adhere well now. And then we just add the little hat. Okay. Like it's falling off because he's running away. All right, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you have any Stampin' Up needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com, and I can provide you with a host code so that you can place an order. All right, I'm going to bring you back in my cards so you can see the 3 different variations of colors. I guess I had to back up a little bit more. Okay. But I think they're super adorable, and I actually really like all the color combinations. This one I didn't sponge the embossing, but the sponging really brings out the background. I especially like it with the Balmy Blue. And then finally I want to show this Glimmer Paper again. It's just, the rainbow glimmer is just gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy stamping!